Know this. I love Halloween. I put up a haunted house every year. In fact, my house is so popular, we had our first trick-or-treaters already this morning. They were wearing State Patrol outfits. We'll get into that story in just a bit. Joining us, as always, MAGA Jesse with the news today. What's going on?
I am doing good. Yeah, we got a lot to get into. We'll be talking about some trick-or-treaters that came by your house, the first ones. We'll be talking about what if Kamala wins, all of the details of things to expect. Obviously, we need to fight that and be prepared. We'll be talking about some voter fraud that continues to appear all around the country. And then we'll be talking about Joe Biden labeling us garbage simply because we want to make America great again.
You know, and I wear this jumpsuit. I like Michael Myers. It's my favorite one. It's the best boogeyman out there. Of course, our episode's called Nightmare on Pennsylvania Avenue after Nightmare on Elm Street, which obviously Freddy Krueger is a really good boogeyman as well. But I wore this and then I realized, Jesse, you know what I look like? I look like a garbage man, or at least one of those old school garbage men that used to ride on the back.
Yep.
Modern day garbage men just operate a joystick with that cool ass claw. I mean, Trump, I don't know how he didn't just try that claw out once. I mean, I really want to do that. I want to operate that. So anyhow, and I got my trash in the background here too, which is garbage men, you know, just garbage, right? Running the dials as always, Mr. Deep State himself, Dawson. How you doing there, Dawson?
It's me. I'm doing good. Nice and chilly with my costume this year, but loving it. Having a great time.
Yeah, he came as Mike Tyson Punch-Out, so
yeah,
very good props to you. He can't show his costume because he wouldn't have digits to operate the dials with.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else is having the problem. I was having a tough time pulling this thing up on Rumble. It wasn't popping up right away like it normally does. So
the show?
Yeah. Even when I was trying to type it in, Truth Hurts and whatnot, it said no results, and a bunch of stuff. I got it up now, but
okay.
Yeah, so maybe people can let us know if they had any technical difficulties. I see we already got Tucker 91, M Bauer 44, Laser Jim, East Cukes, Eat Cukes, and R.I. Wags. So, and Scuba McSalty. So we got a full bunch here. Appreciate all you guys tuning in.
Screw Halloween. It's evil. Come on, man. That's a great holiday. I mean,
from my point of view, there's no technical issues. So if there is anything, it's probably Rumble.
No, it's probably just him, right?
No, it was Rumble.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, anyhow, if you want to interrupt the same time, hit the Rumble rant. We'll read your comment live on air. Otherwise, let us know where you're watching from. Whatever. Look at this guy trying to troll us here. Haters of Halloween. I love Halloween. I don't care. That's who I am. You have to deal with it. And we're going to talk about something really scary about Kamala. I mean, literally, if Kamala wins, if our prediction's wrong, this is actually a real big deal. We couldn't do the show without our great sponsors. Warren Wessel of Keller Williams Realty. If you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, give my good friend Warren a call at 612-419-7453. And if you're buying a home, give the good guys at John Galt Mortgage Company a chance at financing that home. These are good guys. They believe the same things that you and I believe in. You can go to johngaltmortgage.com. Check out their Twitter and Facebook. It's so good. It's top notch. Things that are very political, that are in line with what your and my beliefs are. And also, we're brought to you by Alpine Cabtree in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Post show today with Tushi. Who knows what he's got on the table, too. I know he's got a commercial he wants to show you. J.D. Vance on Joe Rogan just dropped, just so you guys know. I don't know if we'll get the clip because our show's going to be a little shorter today. But if we do, it's 16 minutes in? What did I put? It's on E1. 16:15. Very interesting stuff. You probably haven't seen this, Jesse.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it because, it just dropped.
By the way, if you go on YouTube and you look at Vance Rogan, it doesn't come up. I mean, like, seriously, really? So you got to go type in Joe Rogan experience to get it. Let's start out with the story.
Here, hold on a second. We got Lost Acres that says, "Hi, MAGA Jesse and Jake from England. Vote red." That's awesome. Yeah, we got an international crowd. And we appreciate that. You know, the rest of the world knows that, Kamala Harris cannot be the leader. They see the rest of they see World War III on the precipice. Everything is going to be destroyed. So appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, definitely from across the pond. Okay, first story. A lot of my mornings I start out doing my writing and news reading and stuff like that at home. Like to be around before the kids go off to school, and then days like this, show days, we have a show prep at 10 a.m. So I just happen to be at home at 8:50ish, something like that. and I had 2 state patrol officers show up my home, and they're looking for information about the story we broke 2 weeks ago. Pull up the A1 here, Dawson. This is a story. We did a show on this. By the way, Truth Hurts News LLC is a news company. Just FYI. I don't know if they think we're going to share sources. We're definitely not sharing. If you give us information, and I'm going to show you a state statute that protects us, your information's fine. Law enforcement are not going to get our sources, okay? They can ask whatever they want, but we're not going to give them away. This is a story broke. Someone was on the roof of the governor's mansion, and they erected a sign that said walls failed. Now, when you look at the Bleeding Heart lefties at the opinion section at the Star Tribune, I'll get into this article or column, pretty hilarious. Anti-walls graffiti is sprayed on roof of governor's mansion. I actually don't know if it's sprayed. I've looked at this image many times. I mean, you thought so, Dawson. It could be sprayed on something. It's not on the AC unit. It could be tape. Chopper 5 flew over. They had a little bit of higher res photos than we had. I don't know. So is it vandalism? Is it not vandalism? I mean, I think they got punked. I think that's pretty obvious. They got punked. So I don't know. All I know is I had a source that alluded to the fact that this was on the building, and so we reported the news story. And that ends up bringing the state law enforcement to my house this morning. Now, I know that they've talked to associates of mine, and so it's pretty interesting to see that. I like a Whiskey Tango Foxtrot says, burning down Minneapolis would be considered peaceful, right? Okay, so go to this KSTP on the A2, Dawson. They actually flew Chopper 5. I believe most are taking the image from them. And, you know, this is a much better image, a lot more high def. I'm sure they got better cameras than we did. But then, yeah, they got the same story. Now, we were the ones that broke this on Monday. I think this was Wednesday that they broke it. I'm pretty sure it says Wednesday. So then the mainstream media did it. See, we're the tip of the spear, right? And important news stories. But this is really fascinating. We are reporting news. Does State Patrol, which is in charge of the security of the governor's mansion, and by the way, Governor Walz is not in that mansion. It's being renovated at your expense, like $12 million. Probably only worth $3 million, but they're going to do $12 million. So, yeah, they do they think like we had something to do with this? Like, why are they coming to us, a news agency? Pull up the A4, Dawson. I mean, maybe they thought I'm not wise and would just divulge a source. We'll call that source Deep Throat. They are Deep Throat. This one time I'm not going to be gender specific, right? So this is 595.022. In order to protect the public interest in the free flow of information, the news media should have the benefit of a substantial privilege not to reveal sources of information or to disclose unpublished information. To this end, the freedom of press requires protection of the confidential relationship between the news gatherer and the source of information. Now, this is just like a attorney or a doctor has the right to have confidential information. You can't, as a police officer, ask for a lawyer, or the lawyer doesn't have to tell him what a conversation with a client is, just as the media doesn't have to reveal sources. This is actually pretty damn fundamental to our system of government, which, by the way, the Kamala Harris campaign probably, or administration, is not going to want. But this is pretty important because if we are compelled to give away sources, well, then no one talks to the press and we don't have transparency. It's a damn important fundamental thing. It's so important that it just happens to be part of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. The freedom of the press. The press should be able to get information and do that. Now, why do they come to my home? That's not where my company's registered. Why are they coming to my home? And so this is what I really wonder. I don't have the answer to it. The two gentlemen were rather nice. You know, law enforcement tends to be more on our side these days. Not that I trust law enforcement a lot, but they seem like nice guys. It was a brief conversation, but anyhow, we you know, when I was leading Action for Liberty, there is some precedent of Democrats coming after us and using law enforcement. Andy Parrish asks, does Minnesota have a shield law for journalism? You must have just signed on because I just read it. It is, just so you have it again, it's 95.022. So, and yeah, most states do have a shield law. So it's a very important fundamental right to be able to shield your source. So I don't know if
this happens at the highest level, and sometimes they use it for fake, phony purposes. How many times do we see the liberal media saying anonymous person from the Trump administration is saying this and this and this? So of course it's a common thing within the media, and unless you want to be a state-run media, there has to be separation from you and that government. It's just authoritarianism. You're right that without the First Amendment, without the protection of free speech and journalism, then the government can wipe out anything you say and do. And this was totally an intimidation tactic for them to try to shut you up.
You think so?
I think so.
All right, let me just, because I'm not so certain. I don't take on that yet. Maybe they thought I would help with their investigation. It's a week and a half into it. By the way, the reason it's State Patrol is Walz has been living at another residence. We are paying for 2 residents for Governor Walz, who's actually not even doing the job of governor right now. Let's just be honest. He is full-time running for vice president of the United States. And so he lives at the U of M president's residence on the U of M campus, or right by the U of M campus, whatever it is. And this is being renovated. So if it was the residence he lived in, I would imagine Secret Service would become knocking, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe Secret Service knows that they can't ask or should be asking journalists for their sources. So anyhow, this is when I was running Action for this is the A3 Dawson. The Democrat, well, I guess I put the majority leader. This is Ryan Winkler. Maybe I attribute it to him instead of Melissa Hortman, probably because it seems like something that weasel would do, right? We were running ads against legislators telling them to end their emergency powers. And they had, I think it's probably because we had their cell phone numbers on it. But, by the way, they all contact our cell phones when they want our votes in election time. And they didn't show up to the Capitol. This is during COVID. They weren't at the Capitol. So we put the number that you would actually be able to reach them by, their personal number. And by the way, it was public information anyhow. So we did nothing wrong here. So this is the Democrats putting the sergeant in arms, law enforcement at the Capitol, calling me. And when I actually called him back, basically he was cool. Because he knew he was in a gray area, and he's doing what he was told. He's just being a good Nazi. But he was basically trying to intimidate me at the behest of Ryan Winkler, Melissa Hortman, whatever Democrat machine that they got, to get us to stop running ads asking these people to end Walz emergency powers. Go ahead and play it.
Hello, this is Bob Meyerson from the House of Representatives Sergeant of Arms Office, looking for Jake Duesenberg. If you could give me a call back, I'd appreciate it. This is my office number, 651-296-4884.
All right, go ahead and end it there. That was just the voicemail. I end up calling him back. Crazy, right? We're running ads and they want to intimidate us. Now, I have a long list of government bullies trying to intimidate us. One of their big tactics used against this campaign finance board, 4-0 against that. Gambling board, AG's office. I mean, you just name it. They've come after. I've had a city administrator after us. I've never had any trouble, really. None of these have led to anything. They use this as ways to actually get us to stop doing what we're doing. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. You seem more convinced than I am.
McSalty says it's official intimidation. The powers that be want you to know that they will be coming after you, especially when Kamala refuses to certify her loss and the tyrants start to make the real moves. And that's a real possibility. I mean, Kamala Harris is going to be in that position where Mike Pence was. She's going to be the one standing in front of the Congress pushing those electoral college votes up. So, if these Democrats are not going to want to certify Trump, it's going to be a fight on January 6th.
Yeah, well, let's talk about if Kamala wins, because that's the episode. Obviously, this is breaking news. This just happened to me this morning, and I thought people would be interested in knowing this stuff, and we're not going to stop reporting news, right? And from a truthful standpoint, too. Which, by the way, I think the mainstream media didn't believe that this is true, and then they fly Chopper 5 and they put their own drones up. Oh, I forgot to mention. So Jennifer Brooks at the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, which is just a joke of a left-wing paper. As October surprises go, the most surprising thing about this one was that anyone saw it. Anti-walls graffiti is sprayed on the roof of governor's residence. But someone, somehow, at some point, climbed on top of the unoccupied worksite that is the Minnesota governor's residence with some paint. Does she know that? I don't even know it. I'm the one that originally reported it.
It's paint.
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure it's paint.
All the lefties think it's paint. I would imagine it is, by the way. There, the timid tagger scribbled a political hot take that only birds, HVAC repair technicians, and drone operators could see. Minneapolis photojournalist Chad Davis spotted the partisan graffiti on the taxpayer-owned building on Wednesday and shared the images, possibly spoiling the vandals' plans for an election day or post-election reveal of walls failed scrawled across the rooftop that belongs to the people of Minnesota. Okay, I mean, is she that naive, or does she not realize that we actually broke this story? Probably doesn't want to give us any credit. And it's Minnesotans who are now going to have to foot the bill to clean up the mess. The fact that I even know the story probably suggests that that wasn't their intent. But maybe the person that did it didn't even have much of an intent. They just thought it was funny. I don't even know the gender. I'm not even trying to like disguise. I don't even know the gender. Or is they in the plural sense? I don't know. The Minnesota State Patrol and St. Paul Police Department are currently investigating who defaced equipment at governor's residence and when it happened, according to a news release Thursday. Of course they are. By the way, it's us that have to pay for it. Do you know? I don't know if it's graffiti, if it's like paint. They probably just roll over some gray paint or whatever the hell the color is. That pales in comparison to you guys having to pay $12 million to renovate the governor's mansion. If I was governor of Minnesota, I'd say sell that property, give it back to the people. Right? We don't need to put our governor in a damn mansion. That's part of the problem in the United States. I don't even think we should have a White House, to be honest with you.
Other states have, a historic governor's mansion, so it's more just for the history of it.
Yeah.
This is how it used to be. They would have it so they could live near the Capitol or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of outdated, and yeah, it elevates these people to be more than they actually are, and yeah, as if they deserve a house. It's like no, you don't deserve a mansion just because you got elected to be governor. Your job is to be the governor. You don't get a mansion for that.
And we don't have equal branches of government. If you give him this enormous mansion that costs $12 million to renovate, the Supreme Court justices don't get a mansion, and the legislators don't get a mansion.
Yep.
Damn it, give Nathan Wiesenberg a mansion. Maybe Walter Hudson gets a mansion there too. You'd like that, wouldn't you? He'd have you over for dinner.
He'll get his from Han.
I don't think so. I don't think they have the money to do that. So anyhow, yeah, I mean, like, it's a joke. I think that should be sold. I don't think we should. And if we're going to give him a residence, because apparently Tim Walz can't have his own residence. He owns no property, by the way. We could have a modest home for them, right? But like renovated at $12 million. I don't know. Okay, so let's move on. I don't know if this is intimidation. You seem to think it is. If it's intimidation, do you think this thing's going to stop if Kamala and Tim Walz win? No I think it gets way, way worse. And that's why we named this Nightmare on Pennsylvania Avenue. We made the prediction Donald Trump's going to win this election. There's a lot of reasons we see it. By the way, I'm that's a gut feeling at this point. Like the scientific, the polling methods and all that. No one knows. No one knows. Oh, I like that. Give Tim a tiny home. Yeah. I love that one. That's good. Yeah. And speaking of government waste, giving Tim Walz a house to live in. Like, we all have to buy a house. We all have to rent. Why does he get that?
Well, even when it's under renovation, he still gets another place to stay at. Place. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yes. It's unbelievable. Okay, so, yeah, and it's not a modest place either.
Right.
And he's not even staying there. Like, you think Tim Walz is staying there? He's not even staying there.
Right.
He's all over the United States right now. I'm sure the campaign's basically subsidizing his housing. Oh, there's so many things we got to change in this country. But if Kamala wins, this stuff's not changing. Can we just be honest? Like, that is the status quo. It's absolutely the status quo. Like, I was not a fan of Donald Trump in many regards, and everything's just kind of pushed me more into it. Now, I'm not going to, wake up on November 7th, what day is it? 6th, November 6th, and go, man, I really regret all that big Trump support. I have a rational reason, I think, why I'm voting for Donald Trump. And it's because there are some really big problems with the Kamala campaign victory. I think overarching, I go back and forth on this, Jesse. Overarching, the fact that they pulled off this coup against Joe Biden, she didn't win a primary. They just inserted her, and there's this machine behind it. She can't answer a question. it's like, I don't want that to work. I think that's really bad for our country if that works.
She's got Walz as a VP who's nonstop lying, who looks like a deer in headlights in debates. If she wins, I think our country is going to go, that didn't make sense. The math isn't mathing, because you look around. I don't see these Kamala supporters anywhere. It's all phony. We're going to see massive fraud in this election. If Kamala wins, it's only going to get worse on every single ground. I think that, I don't know what to expect. If everything's fair, Trump wins, but these Democrats will do anything to cheat and rig it.
Yeah, but I actually, and I'm going to get to this in the next segment, all this fraud that's popping up, I actually think the Democrats like the headline, because if Trump wins, I think you're going to see them. It's going to be an instant reversal. It's going to be amazing. All of a sudden, they're going to say, it was fraudulent. They cheated. That's what they're going to say. So I think they like the headlines right now.
They don't like the specific counts of election fraud. They like to vaguely say it was Russia. They don't want to ever prove it. They don't want to get into the specifics of Dominion voting machines. No, they just want to say it's Russia.
They're going to go like, this one lady in northern Minnesota voted for her mother. See, and she was a Trump supporter. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're setting the stage. In my opinion, I think they welcome it, but we can debate that when we get to that.
Didn't Trump truth out that they're already cheating in Philadelphia or something?
Well, he's obviously alleging it. I'm saying they are probably going to be they don't mind these headlines, because if they lose, which I'm sure they are looking at some of these numbers and going, oh, this could be rough. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, well, this is good. Let's bring in speculation that this, and it'd be funny if Trump goes, nope, this election was the fairest of all elections. Wouldn't that be funny if it's just a complete reversal? Kind of like the reversal of who's anti-war and pro-war, in the last 20 years, which is interesting.
Yeah, speaking of which, actually, I just learned this today. The DNC platform, they had a platform in 2020 where it had language opposing regime change wars and saying they wanted to end forever wars. And they removed that in 2024. So it's even among the delegates. Even among the delegates are they pro-war now. The hippie base of the Democrats is totally gone. The delegates are now pro-war. They're a Liz Cheney party. They're a neocon party. The Republican Party is the party of peace. The Republican Party was the one that added to one of their top key platforms, Stop World War III. What bigger goal could we have than preventing World War III? Apparently, Kamala and Walz have other plans than stopping World War III, and it involves us getting involved in. It's going to cause a lot of death, and nobody respects Kamala. Well, she says Iran is our biggest threat.
Well, Jesse, you obviously had your mind made up a long time ago. It's the reason we call you MAGA Jesse. But do you think that's the most important reason to vote Trump is World War III? Because it does certainly seem like that's
nuclear war is the most important thing. If we don't, if we don't stop nuclear war, we all die. No other issue is important if we all die.
Yeah. I'm not even so concerned about, there's this thing about me, like I'm not that concerned about nuclear war in the sense that, if we just all evaporated, like we all win, it's not as tragic as, it's not tragic because we can't observe it. That's why it seems not tragic, plus you instantly evaporate and you're with your maker again. I don't know. Mm-hmm. To me, a tragedy is like what happens in the current war, the fact that they keep prolonging the Ukrainian war, and just Ukrainians are going to continue to die. They're not going to beat Russia. You don't need to be a military expert to realize this. And so what are you doing? You're actually killing more people, more innocent civilians.
Wait. That's more important than nuclear. That's like more problematic than nuclear war. Where
no, it's not. I'm just saying that to me, I don't personally fear nuclear war as much because it's like, I can't observe it, right? Like, imagine like World War II, if you get past Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which I think most people think it's not going to be isolated, it then becomes a global nuclear war. Yeah. Like, I don't fear global nuclear war as much just because of the sense that I can't observe it. We'll be gone.
Yeah, long, drawn-out evil war is probably more destructive for...
I would imagine nuclear war isn't as we all get vaporized as you think it might be.
Well, that's what everyone always talks about. Like, we're all gone, and you're right. It probably doesn't end up that way.
It's probably more like The Walking Dead or Fallout, that kind of thing.
Well, now I'm in the column of I can't wait.
I hope not.
There's this little bit of me, a little side of me that kind of is like, if the apocalypse comes, it's gonna be. I think I can operate pretty well in that, and I'll be one of the guys dead in the first 24 hours by like a freak accident. Like I'll crash my car. I'll be like, I'm so good at forming these like tribes and finding food and energy sources. And what do? I like die from like a sprained ankle or something like that.
Some other guy is going to run into you on the road because it's snowy out. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be outside of Minnesota. It's not like I'm going down south.
I guess so.
All right, so I think that's a fair point. Here's where I get maybe, it sounds goofy, like World War III is not my biggest concern. I don't know. I mean, the likelihood of World War III, it's there. It's certainly there, and it seems far worse. That's the thing about the left is like, oh, Trump is going to start a nuclear war. It's like, are you freaking serious? Like, who do you think's closer to nuclear war, Trump or Kamala, right? It ain't even close.
It's like they forget that Putin has nuclear weapons.
Right.
It's we have to try to work with these people when people have nuclear weapons, and that's why Trump was talking about denuclearization, which is the most what am I trying to say? It's the most peaceful thing that a president could be offering to other major countries, and especially when it comes to China and India and Russia and all of these other competitors that we have. If they could come to an agreement with us on denuclearization, humanity is in such a better place. And Kamala Harris does not have that in her. She doesn't have the negotiation skills. She probably doesn't even have the will to try to do that.
She won't even talk to Joe Rogan.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me? You're going to go sit across from Putin and talk? Like, maybe the one thing that saves her is the fact that they have to have a translator.
Yeah.
You're certainly going to put that bonehead Tim Walz over there. They wouldn't respect that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's this gay guy they sent over here to talk to us? This doesn't make sense. I'm just kidding.
Did you see the thing about the Chinese lady that he had an affair?
Oh, so dumb. I think that story's dumb.
Isn't it dope? That means that he got tail.
Yeah, no, that's the funny thing is like, wait, so he does like women? Like, I don't know. It's just like, you got to understand there's fake news on both sides, and even if it's not fake news, it's like, so he dated a Chinese woman.
I got to dig into it. Her dad was in the CCP.
He was
I know, but like
official.
a lot of people are in the CCP in China. That doesn't seem like that hard. You know what I mean?
So cute.
It's like saying a Chinese person was dating an American dude, and his dad was in the army. It's like
no,
or his dad was in the Republican Party. It's like
no,
yeah.
That's not a
totally different.
How's that different? The CCP is huge
because you can willingly affiliate with the Republican Party. If you're in the CCP, you're a part of the communist organization that wants.
That's even better then.
No,
because he just happened to be in the CCP because everybody had to be.
Yeah, the Nazis were great too then because they all just fell in line and did as they were told.
Well, first of all, we don't. This election, we don't need to have stories that aren't even that validated. Like, honest to God, like, there's enough on Tim Walz, and we've covered Tim Walz to a great extent. So this is where I get concerned, Jesse, outside of just the chance of World War III or any just more continuation of war, is the censorship. And that hits right here at home. Now, I don't know if we have State Patrol coming to my house today, a news company asking about sources. Right, we're not going to devolve. We're a news company, but we certainly in this news agencies we've had one video on a new YouTube channel taken down. Right, Joe Rogan's being censored. I mean, let's just be honest. It was really funny. He had another the two English dudes that are political commentators. And they seem to get better all the time. I can't think of their name.
I can't either, but yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so. He was kind of like sarcastically saying, "Oh, I'm sure it was just a mistake that you couldn't find us on YouTube." I think it's 41 million views now, Joe Rogan and Donald Trump. And he just got JD Vance on. I watched the first like 20 minutes and it's good. It's real good. I can't wait to watch the rest of that with all that time I have on my hands. So that's what I'm worried about, Jesse, is I think this gets bad. I mean, we've played on this show all the statements these people have made about censorship. John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, Tim Walz, Kamala herself, and it's like all of it's coming very recently too. That seems suspicious. Why are they talking about it so much? But they want to get rid of, and of course it's disguised as misinformation or fighting hate crime. That's the other one.
Yeah, no, I don't know if we want to play this clip. I put a clip in the show notes here. It's when Kamala was trying to get Trump banned from Twitter while he was still president. She was debating Elizabeth Warren, and actually Elizabeth Warren was arguing why Trump should not be removed from Twitter. It was kind of interesting.
I forgot about this.
But yeah, this happened during the 2020 Democratic debates. So that's B1 Dawson. Because yeah, this was, so Kamala, she is all about censorship. Go ahead and play it.
The problem is Congress has not had the courage to act, which is why when elected President of the United States, I will give the United States Congress 100 days to pull their act together, bring all these good ideas together, and put a bill on my desk for signature. And if they do not, I will take executive action, and I will put in place the most comprehensive background check policy we've had.
So essentially,
Oh, this seems like a gun one.
That was the wrong one, but regardless, there she is on gun control, which, she says that if she's going to hand it off to Congress, I'm going to give you guys 100 days, and then I'm going to do an executive order. That's her policy. She wants to pretend like she's a gun owner, that she's all for gun rights now. It's a lie. That's still her position. She is still going to take executive action, and especially, let's deal with the reality. It's going to be a Republican Senate. If it's a Republican Senate, that means that no gun control is going to pass. So in that case, she's going to be taking executive order and executive action. Right. Even Joe Biden said that this was unconstitutional. Joe Biden even said that when he picked her, that it was going to be unconstitutional, that he wasn't going to do it. Joe Biden is more in favor of gun rights than Kamala Harris.
Right,
Kamala Harris is a big-time anti-constitutionalist. She wants to override the Constitution. She thinks that she can do that on her own without the will of Congress. So it's going to get bad. And, even if Congress holds down and refuses to play with her, she's still going to put that executive order out there. So she can say what she wants now. It is what it is. She wants to take people's guns away.
Find that clip, because I see you.
Yeah, I got it somewhere.
Yeah. Find that clip and put it back on B1, because I see that you accidentally put the same clip in there in the show notes, because I'm really interested. I do casually remember that from a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. The other thing that really gets me, because gun control is obviously a scary thing all the time, and talk about taking executive action on this stuff is actually worrisome. But just the border and crime issue alone, the one thing that just seems to be, the media doesn't want to talk about too much. They're kind of forced to, but Trump has been very good and positioned very well. This is another reason. Did I say this on the show on Tuesday when I predicted Trump's victory? Like, are you telling me Trump is positioned better on economy and the border? Mm-hmm. And poll after poll shows that those are two top issues, and he's not going to win this election?
Right.
Like, that would be shocking to me in that regard. Not that it couldn't happen. It just seems shocking that he's beating her on those issues. Like, you really have to have a disdain for Trump, even though you think he's better on those issues. The issues that matter. Is that up on B1?
Yep. Yeah,
let's pull this up, Dawson. I really want to see this, because I marginally remember this from a couple years ago.
Senator Warren, I just want to say that I was surprised to hear that you did not agree with me that on this subject of what should be the rules around corporate responsibility for these big tech companies, when I called on Twitter to suspend Donald Trump's account, that you did not agree, and I would urge you to join me, because here we have Donald Trump, who has 65 million Twitter followers, and is using that platform as the President of the United States to openly intimidate witnesses, to threaten witnesses, to obstruct justice. And he and his account should be taken down. We saw in El Paso that shooter in his manifesto was informed by how Donald Trump uses that platform. And this is a matter of corporate responsibility. Twitter should be held accountable and shut down that site. It is a matter of safety and corporate accountability.
Yeah, that's who they are. Of course, they're always going to have a real genuine, holy reason for doing it, at least in their context.
Exactly, and it just shows how crazy she is, because even Elizabeth Warren is more free speech than her. Right. She wanted to ban the president. If she wants to ban the president, she'll ban you, and believe that. There's even rumors out there she wants to, all kinds of censorship is going to happen if she gets power. Elon Musk, who knows how he's going to be able to handle that, because they're going to come after him. They're going to try to steal Twitter from him. Yeah, but she probably wants to, I don't think they actually want to break up big tech. They just want to control big tech. They just want to control who owns it. So they don't necessarily want to break up big tech. That was the question that she never answered there.
They want to control it, yeah.
Yeah, they ask her, do you want to break up big tech? What's her answer? Trump is on Twitter, and Trump shouldn't be on Twitter. So she obviously couldn't answer questions then. She can't answer questions now. She's as bad on censorship as anyone has ever been. Tim Walz is up there with her, too.
They always act like it's Trump or Elon that are the victim here, but, they're not the ones that are really going to get hurt. You think, Elon's really going to get hurt? He's the world's wealthiest man, right? I mean, they could do damage, but I'm thinking he's fine. He'll weather through things.
He had a court case today, didn't he, for the Pennsylvania $1 million per petition thing or whatever?
Well,
no,
I
think they changed the venue. That's all I saw on it.
Yeah.
Changed the venue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I saw that part.
Well, once again, are they? I don't even think they're alleging criminal activity.
Well,
here.
even then, if it is criminal activity, what's going to happen? He's rich.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to prison, right? Go ahead and read Tucker's.
Yeah, $5 Rumble Rant from Tucker. He says, be careful what you wish for, Kamala. Elon bought and shut down Twitter. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Honestly, it'd probably be for the best for our country and for the world to see the removal of X. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, but then a competing one will pop up, and they actually show their algorithm, so
yeah.
I don't know how good that is. But...
Because, yeah, I mean, I'm sure people will be chronically online regardless, but it's not good for people.
But see here, once again, it's not that I mean, obviously I'm very opposed to having Trump taken down and Elon, and they're going to go after him, but it's like they're really the victim that's going to be under Kamala's campaign is us, right? I mean, literally Action for Liberty had their Facebook page and like massive group wiped off the internet by Facebook and at the behest of the White House. Which we know, most from the Twitter files, and now Zuckerberg's admitted to it. Mm-hmm. That like shows like this can't exist. You know what? And once again, I think this is part of the prediction why Trump's going to win. New media is powerful. Mm-hmm. It might be hard to take Joe Rogan down at this point, but it's not probably that hard for them to take down like Truth Hurts and other smaller media companies, right? It's probably not that hard for them to do it, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, like I really feel like we're fighting for our free speech and freedom of press. Mm-hmm. Kamala Harris's track record and statements is very alarming. Mm-hmm. And then, getting to the border,
Yeah, and that link I got in there, that was when Joe Biden put her in the position of border czar. It's a lot of people haven't actually seen that clip. If we do want to pull it up,
go ahead.
It's really interesting because, if we want to know what is Kamala Harris going to do with the border if she becomes president, let's look at what she's done ever since 2021 when Joe Biden put her in charge of it. So go ahead and play that, Dawson.
I've asked her, the VP today, because she's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle and the countries that help. We're going to need help in stemming the movement of so many folks stemming the migration to our southern border. So this new surge we're dealing with now started with the last administration, but it's our responsibility to deal with it humanely and to stop what's happening. And so this increase has been consequential. But the vice president's agreed, among the multiple other things that have happened in the meeting, and I appreciate it, agreed to lead our diplomatic effort and work with those nations to accept the returnees and enhance migration enforcement at their borders.
Okay, go ahead and cut it there. So,
well, he didn't say czar,
right? He
MAGA
didn't say
Jesse.
the word
He didn't
czar,
say czar.
I guess. Yeah, but she's in charge of the border, and what's really interesting there, he's saying, we got to have these other countries willing to cooperate when we send them back. It sounds like Joe Biden wants a deportation. I thought that was the big scary thing that Trump was going to do. And he also says that Kamala is going to get these other countries to help secure their borders, just like Trump had done getting Mexico to put their military on the border. I haven't seen anything from the Biden-Harris administration being able to get other countries to do anything along those lines. The reason that Trump was able to is because he said, if you guys don't do this, you're not getting any more money from our country. And that's the only way you can negotiate with these people. You take away their money, and then all of a sudden they're willing to play your game. They'll do as they're told. And, there is zero motivation from Kamala to try to solve this border. What they really want to do is have this influx, turn them all into voters, turn them all into citizens, and then that way the Democrats can't ever lose an election again.
Yeah, so we could get past the murders of people that shouldn't even be here. We can get past the fact that Venezuelan gangs have taken over, two apartment complexes in Colorado.
Yep.
I mean, one would even be a story. Two, multiple, handful, whatever it is. One too many, right? Mm-hmm. And we can look past that. Let's just be honest. If the border continues being as porous it is right now, and this maybe is the master plan, I have to almost at this point attribute some bit of malice to what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They're trying to tweak elections in the future. I don't know how much it comes into play in this election, but I think they're tweaking elections in the future. That's why they have this.
And then they call it racist
migration.
If you call it out.
Yeah, I know, right?
They call it racist if you point out what they're obviously doing that they admit that they do. And they want to call it, they say the great replacement theory. How about we just call it the replacement theory? Because maybe it's the word great that's getting inside their minds that's freaking them out. It's the replacement theory. They want to replace Americans with Mexicans. They want to replace Americans with South Americans. That's the goal of this whole thing. It's to replace us and get a new voting base so that they can control elections for forever. And because they know that if they make this their issue, they're going to give citizenship. And we got all these dummies in our country who think that that's the humane thing to do. No. The humane thing to do is send them back.
I'm curious about your guys' thoughts on this really quick. There, like, some of Trump's rhetoric that has floated around is like along the lines of deportation for illegal immigrants. Do you guys think that would be a good idea to just deport all of the illegal immigrants if we could?
It's never going to happen, but yeah, let's get as far as we can.
I don't think that is physically possible.
Right.
Yet.
I don't think it is, and it's probably too costly, but it should happen.
Everybody always says, start with the criminals. I'm fine with that. Then we'll work with the rest. We'll figure it out. But a lot of them got to go. Anybody that came under Biden and Kamala has to go.
Yeah, clearly what you have to do is you have to stop the future flow of it, and Kamala is incapable of doing that. Whether we could actually no one believes that for a second. Even Trump, I doubt, believes that. All right, so let's get into some voter fraud, okay? This is interesting. Now, Jesse, I really do think the Democrats don't mind these stories. They might be reading this election going, oh, man, we might not do well. Let's have this in our hip pocket, right? But there seems to be a lot of stories. It is a little amazing, some of the news outlets that are reporting it. Let's start with this. Well, there's nothing wrong with Dominion voting machines, right? Right? Nothing at all wrong with it, except nationwide there's a problem. They say it's only for the ones dealing with disabled voters. Go to the C1 DOS, and this is from, is it the Secretary of State in Michigan, I want to say?
And, I also want to say, too, disabled voters, they take their votes very seriously. They're looking at these candidates and making sure that that their benefits are still going to be there, that they're going to be taken care of, that they're not going to be left out in the cold. So to say that those people especially don't deserve a vote when they're looking at their votes as like a critical thing for their life. And, for the government and for Michigan to, let that slide while they let a Chinese student vote, it's a joke.
Yeah, I didn't even add that one to my list, by the way, because it's just a one-off. I try to avoid the one-offs, but yes, a Chinese immigrant, and they won't even let that vote. Yeah, they're going to count it.
Yeah,
it's
they
crazy.
said, we can't figure out which ballot it is. So
yeah, there's more stories than what we're going to present to you here.
I wonder who the Chinese student voted for.
All right, let's go ahead and play this clip here.
Issues with the programming of the VATS with specifically
Yes.
from Dominion. Why was that only caught in the past few days, and why can't it be fixed? I saw the release with the
Yeah, this is a nationwide issue with Dominion voter access terminals in the counties that use them. And the voter access terminals, of course, not all the machines, just the ones that are accessible, have an issue with the straight party voting and a programming issue that's, again, affected the machines nationwide. And I think all of us that use Dominion machines were unhappy to learn about this during the testing period and as early voting began. So we're working with Dominion to seek accountability on that front, and also are working with our clerks to ensure voters are aware of this programming issue that will require them to ensure they are voting.
A programming issue, Jesse, a programming issue. Now, the interesting thing about programming issues is I didn't think they existed. I thought Dominion voting never has these issues, but apparently they do. These aren't like conservatives or Republicans saying this, right? This is pretty well documented at this point. They're having a nationwide issue. They're having trouble fixing it. And by the way, it could be just a complete error, but programming issues could be planned as well. Like, the thing that bothers the hell out of me is there's this good movie. It was a good Robin Williams movie. It was done, I want to say, early 2000s. He's basically playing Jon Stewart. He's a comedian who has a show. It's a newsy show. And then he decides that he's going to run for president as a third-party candidate. Why is the name of this movie slipping my mind right now? And he wins. Or they think he wins. Turns out there was a glitch in the voting software. And it was this massive corporation that was doing all of it. I mean, Dominion is like peanuts compared to what they're alleging in this movie. And it didn't even seem like it was intentional. It was just a mistake with the software. But the corporation found out about it, and to make sure that they don't get their butts kicked and lose all these contracts, they hide it. And so he's going to end up taking over the presidency when he really didn't win the vote.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I honestly,
there was
slipping
something
my mind right
when
now.
you were talking about that. It reminded me. I remember the 2020 Democratic primaries in Iowa. They had some app, and all of a sudden, people find out that it's tied to all these Pete Buttigieg
Yeah.
supporters, and then the app rigged it so that it appeared that Buttigieg won when it was really Bernie that had received more delegates or got more votes or whatever it was. So I mean,
That's right. It happens even on the Democrat
Right.
side. I know, but of course, rigging against Bernie's fine.
well,
Bernie's a little
exactly.
bitch, by the way. That guy's
Yeah,
such
and Bernie,
a little bitch.
he totally caved on that.
He
stuff
does
too.
every
Yeah,
single. He's a
every
little
time.
bitch. Bernie Sanders is a little bitch. Can I just say that?
Yep.
My God, stand up, man. You get so screwed, and you just take it.
Yeah.
Like a little bitch. All right,
And
Whiskey Tango
he's
Fox
running
says,
for re-election.
I know. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot says Man of the Year. That's right. It's a great movie. The late Robin Williams. All right. Well, it's one thing to have a software glitch or voting system have glitches. It's a whole other thing to when you're a government official to openly to the world on the internet show the passwords for your voting systems. This is the C2 Dawson. This comes to us from the Colorado Secretary of State, who inadvertently posted a spreadsheet to the website with a hidden tab that included voting system passwords.
Was this that lady that got arrested for it?
No, that was
that's
like
like a
some
county
low-level county clerk. This is the Secretary of State's office.
That's like-
And by the way, if you know Colorado, this isn't a Republican. In a statement to 9 News, a spokesperson for the Colorado Secretary of State's office said that the department is working to remedy this situation where necessary. The department took immediate action as soon as it was aware of this and informed the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, which closely monitors and protects the county's essential security infrastructure, the spokesperson said. On Tuesday morning, Colorado Republican Party Vice Chair Hope Scheppelman shared the hidden tab discovery in a mass email along with an affidavit from someone who claims they had to download the Excel file from the Colorado Secretary of State's website and discover the hidden tab by simply clicking unhide. The name on the affidavit was blacked out in the Republican Party email. I mean, I almost feel like they're trying to muddy up the system here.
Yeah.
The globalists are muddying up the system with things like this. I mean, this is a Democrat that releases it so that they can say when Trump wins Colorado. By the way, I don't know if he's going to win Colorado, but watch out, New Mexico. I said this. You know where Trump is right now? New Mexico. And by the way, let's pay attention to Virginia, too. Can we pay attention to Virginia? New Mexico and Virginia, okay? If
Not
I
New
was
Mexico, Virginia for sure.
where's Trump right now?
He's increasing the popular vote.
Well, he doesn't need the popular. If that's why he's doing it, then that's ridiculous. Because the popular vote doesn't matter. He's in New Mexico for a reason, Jesse.
There's something to it though. I think there is something to the trying to get energy in these blue states even too, because it's just to get people fired up, ready to vote, because this election's all about getting people out to vote.
I know, but getting people out to vote in battleground states.
Right, but
States that you can win. It makes no sense to
But
put.
anytime you visit a state, you're going to have people from the neighboring states coming to the rally too.
Yeah.
So he's giving a message to all.
But
kinds of
tell
people.
me what the swing state is around New Mexico.
Arizona.
Like east side of Arizona? Is that what I guess east side of Arizona. Where is? I guess I don't even know where the rally is.
Yeah,
I assume it's
don't know.
not
Probably
near the Arizona border.
Albuquerque. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, but Albuquerque's not on the Arizona border.
Yeah, I don't know.
There you go, Jesse. I'm telling you. I don't know.
Do you think that's why Kamala went to Texas? Because she's going to win Texas?
Basically what it seems to me is, as funny as it sounds, Kamala wants Joe Rogan to come to her, but apparently Beyonce gets the treatment. Kamala will go to Beyonce. It seems like it's as simple as Beyonce wanted to do it in Houston.
Do you think that Beyonce is more popular than Joe Rogan?
No.
Really? You don't think so?
It's hard to say. Different realms. Yeah,
it is different
mediums,
realms
for sure.
Well, I was thinking about this. Who is the most recognized name, the most popular person? Not just necessarily like. Go ahead, go to that.
Oh yeah, 5-door Rumble Rant, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Jake, are those Trump voters behind you?
Well, they sure are. I got a bunch of garbage back here. We'll get into that in the last segment, but that's right. That's what we got in our background here. Trump has got to be the most recognized person on the planet, right?
I mean, yeah.
And he was very much close to that already before he ran. Let me quickly cover this here. Another one, because I got to in a show.
Is it maybe Cristiano Ronaldo? Is it the soccer player?
I can't imagine he's more popular than Trump.
I don't know.
But he's very popular, obviously, around the world. All right, the C3, we talked about this on Tuesday. 2,500 fraudulent ballots in Pennsylvania. Of course, when NPR has the news, which is state-sponsored media, it's only hundreds. But actually in the article, and they quote the what was it, the county attorney or whatever it was, 2,500 potential fraudulent ballots in one county in Pennsylvania alone. Then we go to this story. This is on Truth Hurts News. I wrote this story because I want to get this thing documented. This is so bizarre. A Northern Pennsylvania ABC affiliate shows a graphic while they're showing Formula One racing that says Kamala wins, and basically by a 5-point margin with 100% of the precincts reporting. Okay.
That one's going to be cool.
I honestly, I'm not going to say I believe this, okay? I wanted to make sure this is marked historically, because if it comes up 52 to 47%, we're all going to be like, what? You know what I'm saying? I don't believe this, okay? But if it does,
saying, what if Kamala wins at all?
Nah, I could see Kamala win in Pennsylvania. And by the way,
no way.
I definitely could, Jesse.
Way.
I definitely
For what?
could.
You know, what about Kamala is in touch with Pennsylvania? What opinion does she have?
Do you think
Pennsylvania?
Well, do you think that she's at least getting 45% in Pennsylvania?
I don't know. I wouldn't.
You think
so.
the miss is that much on the polling?
Yeah.
Do you think she gets 40% in Pennsylvania?
Sure.
Well, then she's got something in common. 40% of Pennsylvania
she's
voters.
got the Democrats that are voting for her.
Well, that's not 40%. It's got to be some of the independents, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Anyhow, WNEP issued a statement. Test results for the upcoming November 5th general election mistakenly appeared on WNEP TV early Sunday evening during a broadcast of Formula One Mexico Grand Prix. Those numbers should not have appeared on the screen, and it was an error by WNEP that they did. The numbers seen on the screen were randomly generated test results sent out to help the news organizations make sure the equipment is working properly in advance election night. Now, I think that story's plausible. The random, I don't know if that's... In fact, you know, is it suggestive she's going to win? Should they be paying?
Why haven't we
should they be filing with FEC for that campaign expense there?
Yeah. Why haven't we ever seen a randomly selected Trump victory out of these news agencies?
Yeah, Inbauer says
it's almost like it was a mistake, and they said, "Oh no, how do we put that up on the screen? Let's cover for our mistake and say that it was random." These people are lying. They're rigging the election.
Inbauer 44 says predictive conditioning. I don't know if I agree with that, Jesse. I don't know if I agree that this thing is rigged, but I'm just going to say if it's 52 to 47, and they actually put the count numbers on there, if it's that number, how do we not all go back and go, what the hell's going on here, right?
That's good, because we have like 100% proof at the end of this. If it is 52-47 like that, then 100% for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, like, the chances, what are the odds that would actually occur, that they show this a week in advance and it's the exact same number? The odds would have to be like 1 in a trillion, right?
More than that, yeah.
Yeah,
Those
so it's like,
numbers.
what's going on here, right? Now, I just don't think it's going to be the case, but I'm like, just in case. Just in case. And by the way, if they could do that, holy shit. Then, of course, I think a lot of you guys know the Supreme Court ruled in Virginia that the scrubbing of certain names, this is really interesting. So basically, Youngkin wants to get rid of these non-citizen voters. But if you look at a montage of the news stories on this, you probably haven't seen this, Jesse. U.S. Supreme Court rules Virginia can continue removing voters from rolls. AP News. Supreme Court's conservative justices leave in place Virginia's purge of, and then, of course, it just says voters. It's not until you get to SCOTUS blog where Supreme Court allows Virginia to remove suspected non-citizens from voter rolls. They don't want to talk about that. I mean, the New York Times straight up says, Supreme Court allows Virginia to purge 1,600 voters from registration rolls. Do you see what the media's doing here? They just leave out the headline the fact that these are non-citizens. They shouldn't be on there, right? They're like, well, look at this. Those damn conservative justices on the U.S. Supreme Court are getting rid of voters.
Yeah, I'd have to assume that Glenn Youngkin's trying to do the right thing and clean up the voter rolls, which he should. And, you know, I didn't think that he should even abide by a federal judge, even if they said that, because I'd say, yeah, watch me. I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
Watch me. And, you know, what are they really going to do about it? And, but, you know, I understand there should be reasonable skepticism about removing people's names from voter rolls. We saw in Florida, the 2000 election, you know, there was a lot of discrepancies there of people who thought they shouldn't have been removed, you know, especially people that were eligible voters. And it was, you know, eligible voters were removed from the voter rolls, which you don't want to see any of that. You know, if people are putting in every effort to do that, they shouldn't have that right of theirs revoked. But that's a whole separate thing. I think that Glenn Youngkin is doing is probably the bare minimum of election integrity effort.
Jake, do you have the opinion that the election could be won by Kamala even if there's no cheating?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the data right now as it suggests.
There's already cheating, though.
The data as it suggests right now is this thing's razor thin. My gut says Trump's going to win. I think there's a bias in polls against Trump. Every time he's on the ballot, there's a bias against him. But I do believe that it's possible she wins. It just seems like the momentum, and I think there's comments that there's a big thing of TDS. And so how much does that come into play? Even though Trump is winning on the issues that are most important to people, does that overcome the fact that people can't stand Donald Trump? My theory is people are just silently going to vote for Trump because he's better for them than Kamala, and even though they dislike the guy, okay? But they dislike the guy half because the media's painted him a certain way. It's all lies. It's not all lies, but it's a lot of lies, right?
And I don't think they dislike him like they used to. You know, lots of people are coming around, even Snoop Dogg. You know, when Snoop Dogg came out and said, you know, that Donald Trump's never done anything bad to me. You know, he used to be a big-time anti-Trumper, and there's lots of people that I talk to, you know, just, you know, regular people that just go, yeah, I hated Trump before, but now it's so obvious. And so, you know, there were lots of people like that people are coming around.
Do you think that there's more people like that or more people that go after January 6th? I don't like Trump.
No, I think that
more
number
people are coming to him than going against.
I think that was much hotter many years ago.
Is that like a vibe that we're feeling, or is that like...
No, I think I think a lot of people are not. I mean, there's well, here's the proof: is Kamala's not even talking about Jan 6 much anymore.
Mm-hmm. Didn't she?
Like they ran on that for so long, and they're not talking about it right now, which means it's not playing well.
She just had a rally or whatever at the place where Trump was when January 6th happened, and she had a
rally on Washington D.C., and it wasn't where he did it. It was in front of.
It was in the Ellipse.
Okay, so that's a great segue into our final topic. Do we have Tushi on the Zoom yet?
He said that he doesn't have the Zoom link, but he definitely should.
Tushi, if you're watching, you should have the Zoom link. Can you send it to him again? I don't know. This is a great segue because so it's really fascinating. Oh, you know what? Nazis had a rally in Washington D.C. once too, right? So you can't ignore the parallels. Mm-hmm. So the white supremacists once had a rally in Washington D.C. The parallels. Mm-hmm. Where was that? Where was I going with that one?
It was a great segue and then proceeded.
It was a terrible segue, apparently. Oh, yeah. So she does this rally like by the White House, and it's a massive rally, okay? Credit where it's due, she can turn out people in Washington, D.C., in the swamp. 3 out of 4 of the people that attended it have gone to multiple rallies or something like that, some crazy number, okay? Mm-hmm. So she has a rally outside the White House. Guess who's not invited? In fact, Biden. I think he was in Delaware. Biden. Like, you know, there might be something to the fact that Biden might be actually secretly pulling for Donald Trump here. Because do you really think Biden really has these core beliefs that are that different than Donald Trump? I don't know. I mean, his handlers sure do.
He doesn't have any core beliefs.
Right. Certainly Kamala doesn't.
That puts him right in line with Kamala, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, what a diss. You do it right outside the White House, and you don't even invite the sitting president, you know, your boss, basically. So he does a press conference. I think it's in his basement in Delaware. I don't remember, but he does a press conference, and on it, he has a real gym. Now, Jesse called this. He thinks that literally Tony Hinchcliffe's joke was
our benefit. It was always going to be good.
All right, here's Exhibit A, how it's benefit, because it's Joe Biden himself talking about that comment, the garbage comment, where he drops this doozy.
Donald Trump has no character. He doesn't give a damn about the Latino community. He's failed businessman. He only cares about the billionaire friends he has and accumulating wealth for those at the top. You know, he says immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Give me a break. He wants to do away with the birthright citizenship. Who the hell has said that in the last 100 years? And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable.
Okay. I mean, that just seems obvious. That's what he said.
It's actually a huge step up Because last I heard him talk about MAGA people, he called them a threat to democracy and the enemy or whatever.
Yes, actually, that's right. I mean, we just ignore that. But, like, literally, everyone's thinking, oh, Tony Hinchcliffe is going to sink the Trump campaign in the final hours, and there's Joe Biden. Now, I don't think Joe Biden's with it enough to know and purposely do this as, like, oh, I got dissed by Kamala, let's screw her over. But, damn, like, wow, he literally said we're garbage. So what does Trump do? He gets a garbage truck on his visit to Green Bay, Wisconsin yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, you guys saw this, right? It's genius. Just look up a picture, Dawson, Google a picture. I mean, he literally shows up, lands on the tarmac, and there is a gigantic garbage truck with a Trump banner on it.
I didn't know about this.
You didn't know about the? Yeah, of course. They don't want the story to get out there.
I thought that he was prepping for his new job after losing. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that is his job, cleaning out the garbage of Washington D.C.
What do I look up here?
Just type in Trump garbage truck. Watch, it doesn't even come up. He did a speech with the orange vest on, which makes him look thinner, according to Trump. So there you go.
Oh, the orange.
Yeah.
I thought that you were going to put on one of those.
Now just click on, just look up one of the images. I mean, this is so iconic. Look at that. That's so good. Oh, that is so funny. So he does a little press conference, and then he says that he then drove like 2 seconds and then got out and got back on his plane. Like another stunt. Can you imagine the left getting like all riled up, like, he wasn't actually working for that garbage company, it was just a political stunt.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, and I'm telling you, I knew that this is how the Democrats were going to react. I knew they were going to go overboard because that's what the Democrats do. And we were lucky enough to get the President of the United States. I mean, one joke said by a comedian that's not even that big of a Trump guy, Tony Hinchcliffe. You know, the Democrats nonstop freaking out over a joke that's, you know, kind of soft. You know, it's like, have you ever been to a comedy club? You know, there's so much worse being said than that. So that's what they decided to freak out about, and it just makes them look so ridiculous, makes them look so amateur, makes them look immature, because, I mean, if they can't take a joke like that, and then Joe Biden says that, you know, all of the Trump supporters are garbage because of it, it just shows that these people are out of touch. It makes them look bad, and trying to cancel a comedian, trying to get mad at a joke, and then calling Trump supporters garbage the week before the election, it's a perfect layup for us.
And I think Tony Hinchcliffe will be just fine. Joe Rogan talked about that, by the way, on that show I was talking about. So you can check out his own comments because, you know, him and Tony Hinchcliffe are close. Do we have Tucci on?
He is on, yes. I don't
Okay.
know if you've got it.
Before we get to Tucci, I want you to play E1. This is J.D. Vance on Joe Rogan. A story that we had not heard of. I'm just going to give you a little teaser, and then I think you should go find it on YouTube if you can, or go to Spotify. But this is J.D. Vance talking about Trump thinking about inviting him to the stage for the first time as a VP candidate. This is before it happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Listen to this.
He basically said, well, I think I'm probably going to pick you, but I don't know, and I'm not ready to make a decision. And then he looks at one of his staff members who's in the room. He's like, actually, wouldn't it really set the world ablaze if we just made the decision today? And so why don't you come up with me, and we'll just do the announcement in Butler, Pennsylvania. Well, and I said, and of course, not knowing at the time what was going to happen, I was like, absolutely, let's get this over with, because I'm sick of not knowing. Let's just get this thing over with. And then he's like, no, I'm not gonna do it up there. We need to prepare for it better. So look, I'm not saying it's going to be you, but I'm thinking very seriously about it. Have fun. We'll see after Butler, PA. And then, of course, I go back home to Ohio. Oh, boy. He gets shot. You know, the initial reaction is I actually thought they had killed him, because when you first see the video, he grabs his ear and then he goes down. And I'm like, oh, my God, they just killed him. And I was first I was so pissed, but then I go into like fight or flight mode with my kids. I'm like, you know, all right, kids, you know, we were at a mini golf place in Cincinnati, Ohio. I grab my kids up, throw them in the car, go home and load all my guns, and basically stand like a sentry at our front door. And that was my...
Oh, man. Interesting story, and you can go watch this on Joe Rogan. I mean, like, fascinating behind the scenes of what it was like for him. Just imagine if you went to the rally. Maybe he doesn't exist anymore. All right, do we have Paul Tucci here? Mr. Liberty Longbeard?
Yep.
Can you hear me, Paul?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm trying to figure out. I still can't figure out how to change this picture. So when this election's over, maybe we'll get to some good times to be back in studio. But hey, before we get to that post show, before we get to the post show, there's 3 big juicy items that you're going to want to hear. So if you're not a subscriber, get subscribed now.
Okay, I can't wait to get into it. Especially, I saw a video Tom Emmer made for you. This is fascinating stuff.
We got a Tom Emmer update about Minnesota. We got a amazing election prediction that you haven't heard before, but it's a pretty big one. And we got another issue with the party officer and their controversial Halloween costume, which is photographed.
Oh man, I can't wait to get into it. All right, Tushy, for those that want to subscribe, or you are a subscriber, you know where to go to Locals, and we'll be here on the post show in just a couple minutes. Even if you're watching after the fact, as long as you subscribe, you can watch it after the fact. You don't have to watch it live. You can go to truthhurtsnews.com and click on support Truth Hurts News. $8 a month. You become a subscriber. Helps build this show, bring you good content. A lot of things that we got in store here in the next couple months, even after this crucial election. If you're on Rumble right now, you can just click on join on the top. Make sure you like on here and subscribe to our channel, both on YouTube and on Rumble. So just click on that join and become a subscriber. Thank you to our sponsors, Warren Westler of Keller Williams Realty.
Here we got a $5
I know, just hold on.
Okay.
If you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, give Warren a call. If you're buying a home, give the good guys at John Galt Mortgage Company a chance at financing that home. You can go to johngaltmortgage.com, and thank you to Alpine Cabinetry in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And Phil Kennett's got our last-minute Rumble
Phil Kennett gives $5, says, I missed the first part of the show. Why did the cops call on Jake? Was he streaking in the quads?
Oh, my God. All right. Well, if you really don't know, I'll give you a call after the show, after the post show, because I don't know if I got time. For those that live in Lake Elmo, come over to my great haunted house, although the weather has turned against us, so most of it will be taking place under a rooftop. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Tucker, for the great compliment. Election. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention a couple show notes here real quick. Thursday night, we're going to be doing a live stream here in studio, okay? So that's going to be Trump's last stand. We're going to get into some of this. It's going to be a good show.
You said Thursday night.
Sorry, Sunday night. Sunday night at 7, live stream, okay? Then Tuesday night, we're doing a special election coverage. That coverage starts at about 7:45-ish as results, right before results start coming in. We're going to be broadcasting live. If you're a subscriber, you can come to our election night party. You can come on set. So as long as you are a subscriber, you can go truthhurtsnews.com. You can come on set. Also, then we're going to be regular on Thursday with our post-show analysis. We just got some awesome tickets to Jordan Peterson, who's coming to St. Paul. We're going to be doing a big giveaway. So if you're a subscriber, I think you're going to get a little bit more chances at those tickets. Lots of good things. Lots of great things happening. So I want to make sure you guys are on the up and up. So go to truthhurtsnews.com and go ahead and subscribe. For all you that are subscribers or going to subscribe, we'll see you in Locals in just a couple minutes with Paul Tushy's Big Surprises. Everyone else, we'll see you on Sunday night for a special live stream at 7 o'clock. Take care.
Happy Halloween.